Hello everybody, welcome back. If you're new to the group, every week Molly and I present a word for contemplation. We also hope that you'll use that word in journaling or meditation activities and really take some time to think about what these words mean to you, your perspective on these words, and the consideration of other people's perspectives on some of these words. So the word for the week this week is testify. And for me, the first thing that I think of when I hear the word testify is sort of a churchy feeling. So my mother was very, not religious, but my mother loved to go to church at our local Methodist church for her whole life. And she loved to sort of speak up or vocalize her feelings during prayers and sermons and say hallelujah and praise Jesus and this kind of comments when people were speaking to her, and it moved her. And she liked it so much that she would even do it like in a family dinner or prayer that we were doing over a family dinner. So she would praise Jesus even in the middle of like a family prayer, which I always thought was really funny and really cute. And it's a fond memory I have of her. And so the other kind of concept of the word testify is like court, like testifying in court is the other thing that I think of. And that really kind of heavier meaning of testifying in court, where a lot of times people are put in a position where they have to testify for or against someone, and there can be all kinds of very difficult feelings and emotions that come up around that kind of testimony. What Molly was talking about and what she and I discussed, and I've been contemplating this week, is the idea of testify when it comes to speaking about something that's happened that you witnessed or maybe heard of in like your everyday life. So the idea of like testifying to something that happened. And my feelings on that is that when you are talking about something that didn't happen to you, you're talking about something that happened to somebody else, depending on the tenor of what you're saying, depending on how you portray that story, it can be a really slippery slope into just gossip. And that kind of conversation oftentimes leads to trouble. It can hurt feelings. It can spread misguided information, spread misinformation. And even if people exaggerate in their telling of someone else's story, that can also just turn into like the telephone experience where from one person to the next and the next, the story just gets exaggerated and out of control, and all of a sudden it has nothing to do with the truth. So for me, I try not to talk about other people's stories. I try to stick to my own experiences. If I do talk about something that someone else has experienced or I know from someone else, I try to stick to kind of the facts or what I thought was interesting about it, rather than spreading like the drama of someone else's business. So that is our thoughts this week on Testify. And when I talk about it each week, I like to, if I can, take it to even the next level of personality type, and talking about IMR System and the 9 colors and the different feelings that each one of those personality types has when it comes to people talking like about you or telling stories about you or having conversations about you when you're not around. And for me, as a green, I don't mind if people talk about me. I kind of like it if people are thinking of me. I obviously don't like it if they're talking negative things about me, but I don't mind it. And some personalities, like the blue, for example, they don't like it when you talk about them. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. They don't want their name on your tongue if they're not around. They don't like to be the topic of conversation, and they don't like to be part of those kinds of storytelling situations generally. Now, every blue's different. There's going to be people who are raised by someone who maybe did a lot of that or didn't have an issue with it, and they might have stronger tendencies toward those feelings or relaxed tendencies toward those feelings. But most of the time, from my experience and from what blues have told me, they don't like it. They'd rather you just talk to them when they're around, let them know something's an issue, and tell your own stories when they're not there. So that's some of the differences. Molly's kind of similar. She likes to be part of like a story, but she also wouldn't want it to be in a negative light. So I think anyone wouldn't want it to be in a negative light. And some people don't care. Some people want to be the talk of the town, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. Some personalities don't mind it. So definitely think about, like, how do you feel about that? How do you feel about what people are saying when you're not around? And if your stories are being told or passed on or exaggerated or gossiped about, how much are you doing that when people aren't around? And really try to pay attention to that balance of, telling your own stories and adventures or talking about your own life, or if you do bring up other people's stuff, try to stick to the truth. So just a good word this week. I like the word testify. I think it has a lot of different kind of feelings and meanings for different people, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. So thanks for showing up this week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.